All right, guys, so as typical fashion, what happens is I set up and then the sun moves. And as you guys know, right now I am on crutches. So once I set up, I cannot run anywhere. And also there's like this, nice rain cloud. But even if it rains today, guys, I'm just going to sit here and be on the live. So welcome to another session of Ask T Live. Just wait for you guys to jump on here. We try to do these once a month. Let me see if I can just move a little bit. Try my best to do these once a month. Welcome to the chat. Ooh. All right, can you hear me? Are we good? Is the sound good? Yeah, like I said, sorry I have like a shadow here because I set up and it was fine, but the sun has moved in that time. So I'm trying my best and we're just gonna go with it. So it's quite dark. Sorry about that, guys. Bring it a bit closer. Maybe that's better. Gonna have to work with this today, guys. Sorry. Because there's not much I can do about it now. Because like I said, once I set up to now, I can't really go anywhere. All right, sounds all good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we've got a few questions. And I know some of you guys might have questions. If you have questions while you're live as well, feel free to drop them in the chat and I'll try my best to answer them. So I'm going to just start off with some announcements as I do. So first of all, I want to announce the early bird prize for the Pura Track Speed Camp 2026. So if you haven't been around, you're new to my channel, we had our inaugural, our first ever Pura Track Speed Camp in January of this year. It's 1 week long. It's a warm weather training camp. For those of you who want to take your sprinting to the next level, it's a chance to get out of the cold if you live in a cold country. In January, if your country is cold in January, it's a chance to get out of the cold and get some quality sprint sessions in a nice and warm environment with amazing people. We are going to Tenerife. So we had our first one this year and the next one is going to be in January, the 19th to the 25th. The early bird price ends on Sunday, guys. So if you want to book your place at the early bird price, then make sure you register by Sunday. If you want to register after Sunday, that's fine too. But the price will go up from Monday. So if you want to make sure that you register at the lower price, the early bird price, then make sure you register before Sunday midnight UK time. That's the first announcement. Also, it's come to my attention that some of you guys watch my channel, you follow me, but you don't know that I actually am a coach as well, right? So I actually do provide sessions. I have athletes that I train. I have footballers who come to me for speed training. So if you are interested in actually training with me, then you can check out the link. Naomi will drop it in the chat and you can actually get in contact with us and we can try and book you in for some sessions. So yes, it's not just YouTube that we have here. We actually do provide in-person sessions. So if you live somewhere that's close enough to get to us in person, then you can do so. I also provide online training. So we've got Pure Track Academy where you can actually get that sprint training online if you are someone in another country. That's another option to check out as well. So there are options to train with us, guys. It's not just YouTube. And if you want more personalized feedback, more personalized input, maybe even training, like a continuous training, then check out my website. All right, I don't know if I should fully face I'm just going to try a little bit. Sorry, guys. As I said, the sun has moved since we started, well, since I set up. So, all right. So I'm going to get into the questions. Is that better? I'm really trying. All right. Is that better? All right. Say hi when you drop in the chat, guys. Say where you're watching from. And like I said, if you have any questions while you're here on the live, feel free to drop them in the chat. Right. So the first question that I have here is from It's Anthony. Okay, thank you. Oh, and with the knowledge you have now, what tips would you give your younger self if you could only give 3? It's a really good question. What tips would I give my younger self if I could only give 3? Now, adding that little bit at the end, if I can only give 3, that makes it hard. However, let me think about 3 tips I would give my younger self. As you're dropping in, guys, say hi, let us know where you're watching from. So if I could give my younger self some tips, I think one of the first things I will say to my younger self is to listen to your body. as an athlete, we want to train, we want to like get better, we want to, we always want to train. Sometimes you're even through injury, we want to just keep training, we're feeling pain, but we want to keep going. And sometimes, I was about to say there's a place for it there's a place for pushing through pain if it's like, you just feel tired, or it's just like, the training pain, right? That's different. But if it's actual like injury pain, there's a really a point to listen to your body. So when especially if you start getting a lot of little niggles, if you're getting a lot of little niggles, so like a lot of little things like playing at you, as opposed to like when you have one big injury, it almost forces you to stop, right? When you have a lot of little niggles, you kind of sometimes you just want to keep pushing through, and you end up making other things worse. And that's the time where you really need to listen to your body. What is your body trying to tell you? Is it trying to tell you that you're fatigued, that you need to take a little bit of a rest, that something else is bothering you? Because sometimes it triggers from other places. Oh, the wind is just really calm. Yeah, so listen to your body. If you haven't, I have a video on my channel where I share about my history with stress fractures. I had that for quite a while, and there was points where I just would run through it. And if a stress fracture, you'll basically have like a crack in your bone, and I had it in the sesamoid bones of my feet, so the bottom of my feet, that's exactly what you land on when you sprint. And if I had the knowledge I have now, the experience I had now at that point, then I would have stopped earlier and not allowed it to like linger for so many years, get so much worse. Like, you could have prevented a lot of things. So listen to your body, like take rest when you need to take rest. Yes, you're always thinking, I want to get better, but I don't want to take any days off and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes rest is a part of training, and you need to incorporate rest. You need to incorporate a proper self-management routine. Are you getting your massages? Are you doing your ice baths if you need to do them? I'm not saying I do them, but if you need to do them, then are you doing them? Are you warming up properly, cooling down properly? So it's really just listen to your body. What's it trying to tell you? What are the niggles trying to tell you? What is the fatigue trying to tell you? And it's learning to know what your body's saying to you. And the more you listen to your body, the more you maybe take a note of it. If you have a training diary, it's a good place to take a note, and you start to see a cycle. If you're a woman, what's the cycle? When you're nearly that time for your period, how does your body feel? What are the different signs that you get? Are you able to perform better at certain points? So it's just really paying attention to your body. So that's one of the first things I would say. Listen to your body. I think the second thing I would say is that even though we're sprinters, this journey is a marathon and not a sprint. Like, it's so easy when you're young to just want everything now. And that's not even just in sprinting, that's in life, right, in general. But this journey, it's a long-term journey. No matter what your goals are, so even if you're young, a lot of times your goal is going to be to become a professional athlete, to make it to the Olympics or the world, or compete for your country, right? And you have to think about it as a long-term journey. So it does link into listening to your body, because if you want to be in this game long-term, you have to see the bigger picture, and not just the momentary pleasure, the momentary wins, right? What's the bigger picture? Like, you could do everything now, so to speak, but do you leave room to progress? Like, obviously when you're younger, you're studying, and maybe obviously if you manage to have a proper program, have like a long-term plan as opposed to just a short-term plan. That's what your coach is there to help you do. But it's just realizing that the journey is, when you're young, you want everything now. You want to be able to do everything now. And if you're not doing it, you get so frustrated. But it's learning that it's the journey. Especially if you do want to become a professional, and even if you don't, and you started as a masters athlete, and you wanted to take that for the rest of your life, it's a long-term plan. So if you're in year one of that book that might be 50 years, or that book that might be 20 years, then you realize, oh gosh, I've got such a long time to go. So therefore, don't beat yourself over the head. Give yourself grace. Yeah, recognize that you can get better, but that you're going to build year by year, not just trying to rush. And a lot of that frustration can come from when you don't see it as a marathon as opposed to a sprint, the journey, right? So yes, we're sprinters, but the journey is more like a marathon, and it's really learning to pace yourself. It's learning to progress year upon year. Give yourself room to progress. Don't try to do everything and you end up injured and you can't do anything. But also learning to push yourself as much as you need to, having the right team around you, listening, not thinking you know everything when you're at the beginning of your journey. So I think that's the second thing I would say is that recognizing that the journey is actually longer than you actually anticipate it to be most of the time. Like, yeah, the journey is a lot longer, and you can actually be in this game for a lot longer than you think you could, or and it can provide you so many more opportunities than you think it could. But you have to give yourself that time to grow, that time to develop, that time to expand. And I think the third thing I'm going to say, because I was about to say it now, but I think it's a third point, is that your developing your mindset, developing your tenacity, your ability to persevere, your ability to overcome the hurdle, that's going to be your make or break. I think having a strong mindset, discipline, like basically all the like internal characteristics, that's actually going to be make or break for you in your journey. So listening to your body, recognizing that the journey is a marathon as opposed to a sprint, and developing your mindset is going to be make or break. Because yes, there's one thing to be able to perform in training, so to speak, but under pressure, how do you handle that? And it's really taking the time to get to know yourself, what triggers you, really learning how to cope with, you know, the nerves, how to cope with pressure, how to cope with winning, how to cope with losing. All of those things I think is going to make or break you, not just in the sport, but also as a person and moving forward in your life in general. So thank you, it's Anthony. Let me know if you watch this back or if you're on the live. Let me know if I answered your question and if those answers are any help to you. Ooh. Okay. Next question. Perry Scanlon says, sprint/interval training. It's not a sprinter's workout though, except maybe 400-meter runners. He kind of put a question mark, so I don't really know what the question is. Sprint, endurance, interval training. You're asking me about it. Sprint, endurance, interval training. If you put the train with me, the train with me page, Naomi, then they can see the actual like coaching, what the coaching options are. I'm not sure what the question is. Sprint, endurance, interval training. So are you asking if interval training is for sprinters? So we wouldn't necessarily do, I don't know what you mean. So you have to kind of give me a bit more information as to what you want to say about this. Interval training in general, intervals is obviously like where you have a part where you run faster, a part where you have a break. You got like we have faster, slower pacing in that. As a sprinter, wouldn't really necessarily do that. In general preparation, you might do it, but we don't necessarily do a lot of interval training in that particular way. You might have like back-to-backs where you have like a run, then you have a little break, and then you run again. But yeah, interval training in the traditional form, not so much. Okay, Nebi FR, what to do 6 months of training, beginner, to yearly regional meets as an unattached. I think you're trying to ask me, if you're a beginner, what should you do in the 6 months leading up to a regional meeting? That is a bit of a big question. You're gonna ask me what you want to do in that time? Well, 6 months is a long time, but not a long time. If you're let's say for example, you're starting on this side where the end of the outdoor season, so like what we would traditionally in the UK we say winter training, right? But you might say off season where there's no competitions, and that period, so usually like October, November, December leads into the indoor season, which is January, February, March. So some people don't do indoor, so let's say that's your 6 months. In that 6 months, I know you said to a regional meet, but I don't know. It depends. You have to, if you're starting your season, if you start training only from like, let's say the beginning of the year, then let's say January to June, then you would kind of have to do the same thing because you've got no foundation of training. But let's just say you don't do any indoors and you're going from October, November, December, January, February, March. In general, you want to get as strong as you can, as fit as you can. So fit as you can in terms of like your general endurance, your general stamina, but you don't need to go and do like loads of long runs, but you need like a good foundation. You want to get as fast as you can. You want to be able to, and to get as fast as you can, you're going to have to obviously get more explosive. So the strength plus learning to apply that strength so that the plyometrically get better. You want to be able to get technically better. So you're able to go through the dry phase, you're able to come up transition, go in your max velocity phase, open up your stride length. So you're going to do all the different things you need to do to technically get better in that way. But you want to work on your ability to build up the speed, so you're going to do different sorts of speed sessions, and you want to be able to maintain your speed, so you need to do over distance work, so speed endurance work, intensive like tempo runs and stuff like that, and you want to be able to keep your body healthy in that time. So keeping your body healthy is going to be like priority. So depending on you as an athlete, what your particular events are, and how you operate better. Some athletes operate better with fewer runs, some operate better with a bit more volume. So it kind of depends in that as well as to what that specifically will look like. Your coach will help you figure that out because they will know you as an athlete and they will kind of cater the program specifically to you. But those are some of the general things that you're going to have to do in that 6-month period. And it's kind of the same thing. So if you're like in a competition season now, some people would start competing from April, May, June, July, August, September. That's a 6-month period of competing, and you've got to kind of manage, depending on what the most important competitions are for you in that period. You're going to try to figure out what you want to kind of peak for, so to speak. But you can be fast all year. You see, college athletes do it in America. You see elite athletes be able to run fast all season long. So those are some of the things that you need to like try to consider. Oh, the sun's gone in now. When you're looking at maybe a 6-month period, it depends. What's your foundation? Were you able to train during the winter so you have a foundation, or are you just starting training late and you're just starting from now and somehow you're trying to get fit as quick as possible? So it really depends. It's hard to answer the question without knowing you specifically, but hopefully that helps you a little bit. Okay, next question. Please share this link, guys, with anyone that you think is going to be benefit watching. Okay, next question is from Michael Blount 2522, and he asks, my event is in 2 weeks. At what point do I reduce workout intensity so I'm fresh and fully charged come my race? Okay, this is a really good question. Let me just get some water. Okay, so 2 weeks out from your race. So I'll tell you what I do. Obviously, it's not a one way only. Obviously, you've got the idea that you want to taper towards your race. You want to start reducing the intensity, and you might start reducing the volume, so to speak. I wouldn't necessarily say intensity, because sprinting is intense and you want to keep the intensity high because if you've got a race in 2 weeks, there's no point doing slow stuff. Like, it's not really beneficial to you. So the intensity needs to be high, but the volume might be lower. So your session should pretty much be towards the very almost 100% pace, because in training it's very difficult to do 100%, so to speak, because you always get that extra bit in a competition because of the adrenaline, because of the competition. However, 2 weeks out, so I like to work backwards. I'll say what I do personally, right? And then obviously, depending on the athlete, like when they generally train, their work schedule, all that kind of stuff, you kind of have to work with that too. So I don't know that for you, but I'll just say what I would generally do myself. And also depends how many sessions you actually train a week. I don't know how many sessions you actually train a week. So, saying how many sessions per se you should do, I'm not sure. So just take this as a guide. But if I have a race let's say your race is on a Saturday. So you're going to race on a Saturday. Let's say that you need to travel there, okay? Just to make it interesting. So you need to travel there, as in it's not somewhere that you can travel to on the day. So you need to travel the day before. So Friday is going to be a travel day. Therefore, you're going to do a pre-meet on a Thursday. Your pre-meet session going to look different depending on what you were able to do before. So working backwards is what I'm showing you now, right? So you're going to travel on a Friday. Let's assume that when you travel on a Friday, there's not anywhere for you to do like any runs. You can't go to the track. So all you can do on the Friday is just like stretch and make sure you feel good. But so on the Thursday, you want to get a good pre-meet session in. So you're going to go for your warm-up, mentally prepare yourself, think about what you want to achieve on the Saturday. If you need to get some block starts in, you're going to do that too. Or maybe even before that, just any plyometric that make you feel explosive. So you're going to do anything in that pre-meet session that makes you personally feel fast and explosive. I've got a whole guide called the Sprinter's Pre-Meet Handbook. So if you haven't downloaded it, it's free. Then make sure you download that guide, right? But in that, it gives you a bit more detail. So you're going to do whatever makes you feel fast and explosive, you're going to do on the Thursday, because we're saying we're racing on Saturday, we'll have to travel on a Friday, and we're going to do the pre-meet on the Thursday, okay? Now, when you finish that pre-meet, you should not feel tired. You need to feel fresh. You need to feel sharp. Like, you need to feel like you're ready to go. Like, yes, I'm ready to run. I feel fast. I'm going to run again. You should need to feel like that. You don't want to tire yourself out. So you don't want to do too much. It's just enough to feel good. Like, you feel fast, you feel explosive, you feel twitchy, you feel ready to go. Now, before that, I personally would like to take 2 days, because you want to make sure that your CNS system, you're nice and fresh, yeah? You're nice and fresh, so when you come, you can fire well on the pre-meet session. So let's say that's the Wednesday and that's the Tuesday. So you might do a session on a Monday. If you're someone, you may have done a session on a Sunday. It doesn't depend when you train. It might be, if I push it down a bit and I say the race is on Sunday, then maybe you might have trained Monday, Tuesday, had Wednesday, Thursday off, did a session on Friday, and then travelled on Saturday and raced on Sunday. However, if you're someone who you only train 3 days a week anyway, then doing 3 days of session a week might be a lot to you because that's all you do anyway. So it's kind of like, if you do more, if you normally do 5 sessions and you do 3, that feels like less. But if you do 3 sessions, that's all you do, and you do 3, it might feel like it's quite a lot on your body. So, but then if you're only doing it once, then your body could probably cope with it. So if you have back-to-back races, that's when you might need to change it up a bit. That's the week of the race. The week before the race, so you're saying 2 weeks, my race is in 2 weeks. What's the question again? My race is in 2 weeks. Do I reduce volume? You said intensity. So like I said, not intensity, but maybe the volume. So everything you need to do has to be quality. Everything you do has to be quality. So you need to be hitting the times that you want to hit. Because if you have a target time for your race, which you should have been trained like that anyway, you have a target time. So everything you do, no matter whether it's the starts, the longer sprints, whatever it is, it needs to be quality. So your breaks, your rest between reps should be much longer, full recovery at this point. And in order for you to be able to perform at that high intensity in the session, lower volume, longer breaks, then you need to have the appropriate amount of rest between session days and also between reps, right? So I don't know how often you train, but hopefully that's a guide for you. So Michael, if you watch this, if you're live or you watch this after the fact, let me know if that's helpful for you. And like I said, I've got a free guide called the Sprinters Pre-Meet Handbook, and we'll link it in the description box after this live as well, so you guys can check that out if you haven't downloaded it already. Okay, next question. Sorry guys, I'm really thirsty today. Okay, next question from @ProudSprintDad, and he asks, tell us about your new spikes. Have they made a difference? If so, how can you tell? I don't have my spikes on me because, you know, I'm not sprinting anywhere with these. So I haven't got my spikes on me. However, my spikes that I believe he's talking about is the ones that I bought from trackspikes.co. The trackspikes.co, they have sprints, they have loads of sprint spikes, right? They have really nice sprint spikes. They've got recovery shoes. I've shared that on my channel before. They've got the sunglasses. They've got different accessories as well. So I bought the Carbon CP2s. I actually bought them at the end of last year, so they're not so new now. I've had them for almost a year, and I really like them. So they were my first ever pair of carbon plated sprint spikes. So if you guys are not sure about what that is, I'm actually going to link the article that I wrote for trackspikes.co about carbon plated spikes, comparing the Carbon CP2 to the Max Fly 2s, right? I wrote an article about them. That's great. I wrote an article for them, guys. That's really cool. So I'll link that in the description box after as well. But yeah, so it's my first carbon plated spikes, and immediately I felt the difference. So last year I had the Adidas I can't remember, Finesse. I had the Adidas Finesse, but there's different ones. So when I bought them, I bought the grey, mine was the grey lime sort of colour one, and they were really flat. But there's some other Adidas Finesse, can't remember the whole name of the spike ones, right? And they feel and look, they have a bit more cushion and stuff, so they're nicer. But the ones that I had, I wore them throughout the year, and I think I ran 11.8s consistently, and I ran 11.75 windy last year. But I just didn't really like the feel of the spike, I'll be honest. It didn't give me much back from the track. Whereas as soon as I put on the Carbon CP2s, I just felt that bounce. And I'll tell you what I felt the difference in particularly, I would say, is once you're up into your upright running and you're maintaining your form, your speed, it just felt a lot easier to do that. Even in training, when I'm doing the longer speed endurance runs, and I'm you know, that part where normally, I say normally, obviously your fitness plays a part in that, but you're asking me what difference did I feel? It just felt easier for me to be able to maintain, because it's giving me back what I'm putting into the track a lot better, and it just feels more bouncy, and just it just felt a lot easier, I'll be honest. So it just helps, I guess, enhance what you actually already have. That's how I personally felt about it. Obviously it's hard to say exactly the exact difference of how it's felt, because unless you do you know, a fair test, like a specific fair test. But, you know, the fact that I ran like 11.6s and 11.5s windy this year, obviously I know I trained better, but I trained this year in those spikes as well. So I think that would have a part to do with play, where for me personally, a lot of the reason why I ran quicker this year was because my speed endurance was better. My ability to maintain my speed was better this year, because a lot of my times that I do in the first 30, 40, 50, 60 have been the same for quite a long time. Like, I've been able to hit the fast time, but then clearly it must be my speed endurance that's lacking. A lot of that is because of injury, blah, 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 all these different things. But getting to a place where I was able to have a consistent block of training, plus be able to maintain my speed and my form better during training, I think that's what helped. So I just felt that the spikes helped me to do that in those longer runs, in training in particular, which helped me then in the competition obviously be able to do that. So yeah, the assistance that I felt in training, I felt like that helps. So don't know if the answer, like I said, it's hard to say that specifically, because unless you do a very, very fair test, like scientifically fair, then you can't really like say for sure, right? But I like them. So also, guys, if you want to get any spikes from trackspikes.co, you can use my code, I don't know what it is, Tariba Thompson or Thompson 10. Naomi, quickly check for me, what's my code? Because I can't remember. Is it Tariba Thompson or Thompson 10? Something like that, Thompson 10, and you can get 10% off, yeah, on any item on the store. So check that out. Okay. All right, guys, do you have any, is there any questions in the chat? Do you guys have any questions? If this has been helpful for you, then please give it a like. Going to be a shorter live today unless you guys have some questions for me. That's all good. All right, so please may you post more core routines and how to build a stronger core. I mean, this is not a question that I can answer on here, but I will try my best. Like, to be honest, I haven't recorded any like Fit with T videos like that for a while. That's why I started doing Ask T lives, because I guess with the schedule and my schedule and then the ability, like editing time and stuff like that, thankfully, you know, I've got someone to help me edit now, which is really helpful. So we'll see. I'll try my best to see how many, if I can try and get some more core stuff in there for you guys. To show you like some of the stuff that I do and stuff. But I do have quite a lot of core stuff on my channel, but maybe I haven't put them together as a routine so you guys can try and kind of see. I saw a question pop up here. Let me see what it says. How many 100% sprints do you do in a session? Okay, it depends what your session is. It depends where you are in a season. And as I said before, like in training, it's actually very difficult to do 100%, so to speak. But if you have a timing system, then you're more likely to be close to that 100%, because then you actually know what it's one thing to go, oh, I put a lot of effort into the run, but it's another thing to actually hit certain times and be on target for those times. So if you actually say 100% should be, if you are, let's say, for example, you're doing a 60 meters and your targets and your 100% is 7 dead, as an example. Let's say that 100% might be you've run that before, and therefore if you do that in training, that's 100%. Or it could be that's your target time that you're trying to run in your next race or in your next, you know, indoor season. Then that would be your 100%. So then if you have like a run, you say, okay, let's try to run at 95%, because like I said, if you try to run at 100%, a lot of time people will tense up. So if you just do a percentage a little bit below that, you'll usually get a better effort out of the person. But like I said, it depends on what the session is and where you are in the season. So early season, most of your runs are not really 100%. But then the closer you get to competition and you're in competition season, then your runs are going to be closer to that. It depends on what distances the runs are and what the target of the session is as to how many runs you do. But for example, like in a short sprint session or like an acceleration session, you might not cover more than 300 meters. So add up your runs as to how much that is. Or like, it depends on what it is. So some session might be 300 meters, some session might be 600 meters, some session might be like 1200 meters. It depends what the session is. So it's not just point blank how many runs at 100%. It actually depends what is the focus of the session, because as sprinters, you don't just go to a session and go, right, we're doing 40 meters, they're all 100%. There is going to be some sort of focus and goal for that session. Like, is it 40 meters? Okay, we're covering 40 meters, but actually it's a 10-meter fly, so 30 meters of acceleration, 10 meters upright. Or is it a 40 meters acceleration where you're practicing transitioning and a bit longer, the longer part of the bit later phase of the acceleration? Or You know, is it going to be like, it just depends what it is. So it's not necessarily point blank how many runs. A lot of times I would say in general, you tend to get like 6 to 8 sort of runs, but that's a longer distance. Because if you're only doing like 10, 20, 30 meters, then you might do more than that. So it literally depends. So you do have some sessions where you're running like 100%, but that's usually going to be competition season. So that's going to be either outdoor season or indoor season. And if you want to really make sure you're running at those, then those sessions need to be timed, and preferably using some sort of timing system. So some sort of fully automated timing system. Yeah, so that might be a free lap, that might be the photo finish app, which I've shared with you guys before, that I do have also. If you use my link for that, I've got 20%, you can get 20% off that for 5 months. So the app, you literally just need to have your phone and maybe another person's phone, or if you've got 2 phones that works, you put one at the start, one at the end, and it takes your movement as you pass it. It's very accurate, so you can get actually more accurate timing for your run, so you actually know if you're running at 100%. It's one thing to say, oh, that felt like I put 100% effort, but if you're tired and you put 100% effort, or your form with flops and you put 100% effort, then you don't run the time. So yeah, you need some data to give you to actually know. So it's not just off the bat like how many runs, but I hope that helps give a bit more like clarity how you might figure it out. All right, guys. So I don't have any more questions. Well, I know that I'll answer one more question that I know Nancy had, but she's not on the live. But it was about how to focus in the start at a competition. So someone asked a question last month, actually. It was a question sort of like they feel like really ready in the warm-up. When they get on the start line, they feel really flat. And I think we made that into a video. I was talking about feeling flat on the line and how to overcome that, right? Now, another challenge that some people find is that when they are in a competition, like when they get on the line, so literally, you know, you're in training, you think about a lot of things. When you get to a competition, you can't think about, that's what training is for. There's some things, you need to have only like 1 or 2 things that is your focus. You can't think on everything, or it just becomes overwhelming. And especially when you get to by the time you get to the start line, your mind, you need to like clear your mind, or just focus your mind. I should say, it's better to say than just be empty. You need to have a specific focus. Like for me personally, a lot of the time when I get to the line, even if you thought about, it depends what the main thing you might have wanted to correct. If you had a race before, like 2 rounds supposed to be, if you wanted to correct something, you might want to just have that one word or one sentence that you're telling yourself. So when the starter says on your marks, because what happens on your marks is sometimes you're being held there, and it's very easy for your mind to wander. So the discipline then becomes, you have to have one thing that you just zone in on. So you're either saying like, you're just focusing on that gun, yeah? So you have to learn to just, if you just let your mind go free with nothing, then a lot of times you will lose the focus. So you have to have something to focus on, because on your marks, sometimes there can be quite a long hold before they say set. It depends what's happening. It depends if other athletes are taking ages to get in the blocks. Depends if officials are walking up and down. It just depends. Sometimes they're holding you for ages. So the best thing is not to try to think about a lot of things. It's just have one thing that you're focusing on. So if it's like, a lot of times I'm just telling myself, get out, react. Like that might be the one thing that I'm telling myself. It might be different for you. You might be saying something about your arm or your knee, like punch the knee. And that's what you're thinking about. So as soon as you hear that guard, that's what you're going to do. Yeah. So you just have to have, it's learning to just have that one. Oh, it's the rain. It's that learning to have that one. The rain is coming, guys. It's coming. It's learning to have that one thing, as opposed to many things. Many things. Hello, many things. Oh gosh, guys, the rain is really coming down. The many things will you'll be hard to focus, and then you won't get out as well as you want to, and then it's just too many things. So it's learning to just have one thing. By the time you get onto that line, one thing, thinking of what's that most important thing, or what's the cue. You have to figure it out for yourself. One of those things that even sometimes your coach tries to figure out with you what are the best cues, but when you're on the line, it's just you and the gun, it's you and the starter. So you have to figure out from the internal cue, what's the words that's going to get you to focus, or what's that one thing that you understand for yourself that's going to help you to react to that gun and stay focused. So it's a hard question to answer, but like I said as well, a lot of it is race practice. A lot of it is experience. which is why you hear commentators a lot of time talking about, oh, this athlete's very experienced, because experience is one of those things that changes the game. Remember I said at the beginning, this journey is more of a marathon than a sprint. So especially if you're very early in the beginning of your athletics career, athletics journey, there's a lot of things that you're still yet to learn. There's a lot of things that you haven't experienced and you're still learning to navigate. So it's one of those things of being like, oh, I'm struggling with this. But the more you race, the more you have that practice, you're going to learn to figure it out. And some things is just that you have to actually just go through it and keep refining until you find like what really works for you. So yeah. Hi, ma'am. I am an athlete from India. I am guiding. Oops. I don't know why the chat always closes on me. I am guiding your video. It's very useful for me. Oh, I'm glad to hear that they're useful for you. What event do you do? Lipika, I think. I can't see that properly. He's shutting. What events do you do? But yes, guys, unless you have any more questions, 100 meters. And did you race the season? How did it go? Are you still racing? How did it go? Do you guys have any more questions? Because I'm just sitting here getting wet. Do you have any more questions? But yeah, I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Bit of a short live today. You guys didn't send as many questions, but all good. If you have any questions after the live, you're like, oh, I wish I asked this, then you can always put them in the chat. You can comment underneath any post and we will try to answer them in the next one. Like I said, we try to do these once a month. So the next one will be in September by God's grace. As I said as well, the Pura Track Speed Camp guide. If you want to come, the early bird price ends on Sunday. So if you want to get it at the cheaper price, make sure that you register by Sunday. But if not, you can still register later, but the price will go up. Yeah, ma'am, I am doing next month's schools meet. Okay, all the best with that race. I hope it goes well. How's training going? I hope training's going well. All right, guys, give this video a big thumbs up if it's been helpful for you guys. Share it with anyone that you think will find it beneficial. Obviously, I really want these lives to be helpful for you. Don't just do them for the sake of it. But a lot of times you have questions or people have questions that you didn't think about and it just helps. So if you have a question and you ask it, then I can answer. Then other people can benefit from your question as well. So yeah, I'll give you guys a few more minutes before I jump. I say a few more minutes and it ends up being like a few seconds. Sorry. Any more questions, guys? Good. I am learning techniques from yours. Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm glad the videos are helpful. Is there any, if you guys have any like particular, like someone asked about, they want core videos. If you have any particular like videos that you would want me to make, then let me know. Like I said, I'll try my very best. But one of the reasons I started doing the lives is so that I can still be helpful for you guys without having to edit, because editing takes time. Although I do have someone to help me edit, but it's still like a minimal amount of like video. So obviously we try our best to do as much as we can. But yeah, so if you have any like particular topics that you want me to cover in videos, then let me know. But other than that, guys, probably going to call it end this live for today. Thank you for those of you that joined me. And like I said, if you have any questions after the live ends, you can drop them in the comment section and I will try to answer them next time. All right then, guys, I have schools coming, but tell me, what should I do to improve the speed before the schools? You said it's next week, right? Or next month. Work on your start. So do as much starts on blocks. If you use blocks, try and work on your start as much as you can. Make sure that you're using your arms efficiently, not a lot of twisting. Keep everything nice and smooth and efficient. Yeah. Try to open up your stride if you can. Yeah. So rather than just spinning in a very short stride, try and open up your stride length if you can, and work on being able to maintain your speed. So doing a bit of distance over 100 meters is going to help you be able to do that a little bit better as well. Yeah, so when you're doing your starts, you don't need to do it over 100, but do a model definitely before your race. Do a model 100. I think I spoke about that last month. Do a model 100 meters maybe at least once a week until you're ready to get, do you feel like I've done this before, it's not something new at the competition, like go through the whole model, go through the blocks, get someone to set you off, go through your drive phase, transition, come up, open up, stay big in the max V, then try to maintain nice good form. So try that at least once, like try to practice or mimic a race maybe like once a week until your school's event, so you've done it before. All right, guys. All right, guys. So thank you for those of you who joined me today. Thank you for your questions. If you asked the questions, appreciate you guys. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the comments, the likes, all of that. But yes, guys, I will see you next month then in the next RT live Q&A. Stay blessed until then. What's the recommended time in between sprinting runs? Okay, are we still talking about the max, like if you're running at max? Yeah, that was Captain Britain that asked that question before. Okay, so probably give yourself from like 10 to 15 minutes. It depends how long the run is. If it's a shorter run, you don't need that long. If it's a shorter run, then maybe like 6 to 8. If you're trying to get that full, if you're trying to get a full pace. But if it's a longer run, then anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes on it. Anywhere from, I'll say like, it depends what the run is, but 8 to 15 minutes. It really depends what you're doing. 100 meters. Okay, if you're doing 100, I would say 10, to be honest, even up to 20 minutes if you want to if you actually want to run max, in training anyway. Can you tell me about a note for weight sections? What do you mean by that? Could you tell me about a note for weight section? You mean weight training? Do you do weight training? So what do you want me to tell you? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean. What you want me to ask? What you want me to say? What would you like me to tell you about weight training? Okay. So you want to know what you should do. All right. Let me give you a little bit of a guide with regards to training. How many times would you do 400 meters in one session? Is 2 times enough, or do you do more? All right. As a 100-meter runner myself, is it Lipika? Let me come back to that question in a second. Lipika, let me come back to your question about weight training. With regards to 100 meters, if as a 100-meter sprinter myself, I'll be honest, I'm not going to do 100 meters as a session a lot of time. It will be, as like I said to Lipika, as a model race. So you might do maybe maximum 2 of those in a session, right? However, other runs that you might do, like if you're trying to do like a max 150, a max 120, a max 90, a max 60 or whatever, I might do those. So because you're working on different elements to piece the 100-meter race together. But in terms of 100 meters itself, I'm not really going to do 100 meters as a session unless I'm doing it as a model race. I'll be honest with you, that's how I'm going to do it. So 2 times might be how I do it. If I'm doing a model, if I want to do a model run for 100, 1 time, maximum 2. That might be what I do in a session. I might have done other things before that as well, but that might be what I do. So Lipika, you do 2 weight sessions a week. Well, I don't want to, so because you're like right in the middle about squats and cleans. Okay. So I don't know, because I don't know like your whole history. It's very difficult to say, but in general, with your squats and cleans are good, right? They're good exercises. Squat is a great compound exercise. It recruits lots of muscle fiber, but a lot of muscle groups, sorry, a lot of the muscles that we utilize in sprinting, glutes, the quads, you know, even the hamstring. So it's very good. Obviously, you've got the core element as well, right? If you have the bar on your back, if you have the bar on your front, it depends. Now, when you're like off season, or what I would say winter training, then you can focus on getting those squats deeper, a lot more, like getting stronger, more weights and stuff like that. When you're like closer to running, so to do like deep squats where you go right down, right up, the time that it takes you to do it is longer, right? I'm a 16-year-old athlete from India. Okay, so you're really at the beginning of you're really at the beginning of training, right? I think this is gone. You're at the beginning of your training. I think I've lost the feed. I think it's gone off. I'm going to carry on, and if it's not there, I'm sorry, guys. I think it's shut off. You're at the beginning of your weight journey, really and truly. I don't know what happened here. She did this to me last time as well. Okay, I'm going to talk like you're still here, but I don't know if you are here because I can't see the chat anymore. It's shut off. Oh dear. What has happened here? I can't even see anymore. Alright, I can't see you guys. I don't know what's happened. This happened to me last time as well, guys. I'm so sorry. Alright, I don't know. Okay, I think I'm back. Sorry, guys. You might have been able to hear me the whole time, but I couldn't see anything. Okay. Alright, I'm back. Okay. You're 16, you're at the beginning of your journey. So you want to make sure your form is good in the gym, otherwise you're going to get hurt. Squats are good because they're good, like I said, they incorporate different muscle groups that we need for sprinting. But when you're in, like you're going to race next month, so you're in competition season, we don't want to focus on slow movement. Our movements need to be quick and explosive. So a lot of time, once we're in the fullness of the season, we're doing like shorter ranges of exercises so that everything can be quick and explosive. So it can still be very heavy, but the range is a bit shorter, so it can be a lot quicker. So you need to focus on making your movements quick. There's no point in putting things too heavy if you can't do it quickly, because right now it's all about being fast. It's about being fast. The time to really build the, like, where you can just pure strength, like, so things are slower, big, deep movement, is going to be like further away from your competition season, right? So this thing, keep that in mind. Cleans are good, but you need to make sure that your form is good so you don't hurt yourself. So ideally, if you can get someone to teach you how to do it properly, that would be helpful. And like I said, start off lighter and before you start putting more weight that you can't move quickly, because there's no point doing power lifts if you can't actually move the bar quickly, okay? So they're good exercises, they're okay, but you just need to make sure that your form is good and that you're able to, can you improve me? Can you guide me on how to improve my stride length, ma'am? Okay. One way to do it is to use like to use cones. So what you might do is set them out if you have cones and gradually increase the distance between them. So you can use your own feet as an example. You might have to experiment, right? Okay, so I have a video on my channel about stride length versus stride frequency. That video is going to really help you. So when you come off this live, because I give a bit more detail so you can actually know what to do, because I'm going to give you tools, but then to know on that video I talk about what your optimal stride length might be and how you can work it out. So go to that video. It's called wicket drills are good. Wicket drills are good, yep. So you can use wickets, mini hurdles for other people that don't know what it is. And you can, or if you don't have those, you can just use cones, right? But wicket drills are good because they help you to be upright and open. How to keep calm and focused when you're in the blocks at a race. Yeah, so I answered your question, Nancy. You have to go back and look at the thing, because I was about to go off of the live and then people started asking questions. So I was like, let me just ask Nancy's question so she can rewatch it on the replay. But how to keep calm and focused when you're in the blocks at a race. But yeah, I spoke about it, and I just spoke about having one focus, and we spoke about how some of these things it is going to come from the experience. The more experience you have, then obviously you have that tool, you have that in your tool belt to glean from, that experience to glean from. So you yourself as a seamstress, whereas somebody who's new to your field, they might be really nervous when they're doing certain things, but because you've got that history, you kind of know what you're doing. So that history, that experience gives you some of that confidence as well, gives you the ability to stay calm under pressure. Even if you make a mistake, you're like, you don't start panicking because you're like, I can fix this, I know what to do. So yeah, some of it, it's okay. Some of it is like the race experience. What do you do in a morning, I guess you mean in a morning session? It depends what your sessions are in the week. So it's not just what you'll do in the morning. It depends how your sessions are. How many sessions do you do a week and what you're doing on each day. So some of the things you need to focus on, guys, if you're sprinting, like I said to Captain Britain, if you're a 100-meter sprinter, your session is not just I run 100 meters every time I come to the session. That's not what you're going to do. Like, you have to break that 100 up and you have to work on the different parts of the race to get better when you put it back together again, right? So you need to work on your start. You need to work on your acceleration and transition. You need to work on your max velocity. You need to work on your ability to maintain your speed, to decelerate less. So you've got a fitness element, you've got technical elements, right? And then obviously you need to, the more, like sprinting anyway, the more you sprint, the quicker, like the more you do it, you have to sprint a lot to get faster. That's just how it works anyway. So when you're working on your technique, you're working on, there's different parts of the technique. So it's like in the acceleration phase, there's a different technique slightly to when you're upright. So, you know, acceleration, you're more at an angle. When you're upright, you're more upright. Having to open up your stride, that's part of it, where your arms should be. And then obviously like the tools to get you there. So the strength element, the power element, that's why you do gym, like weight training, that's why you do plyometric work. Those tools, fitness tools, that's going to get you there. You do the over distance stuff to give you the fitness to be able to maintain at the end of the race. You've got to do, if you want to do 200, you've got to do bend running. You've got to practice whipping off that bend. So we don't just do 100 every session. So when you're saying what do you do in the morning, it's going to depend how you've broken up your week, because not everyone can train like a full-time athlete where they can do 6 days of training a week, 2 sessions a day on some days, right? So you have to 2 sessions morning and evening. My personal best 12:83. I ran on a previous meet, ma'am, so I want to improve more in the next month. Yeah, so you need to remember, I started this whole live with the rest element. So you need to structure a week. It needs to fit. You need to be able to get quality sessions. Ideally, if you can, you're going to give yourself a gap between the speed sessions, so your body can actually recuperate a little bit before you try to go and run again. You can do 2 days back to back. However, you then want to make sure you have some rest in between that. So your CNS system has the ability to reboot itself so you can actually perform at a high level again. Also, if you've been doing that for like a few weeks, sometimes you get a bit fried, so you need to have a rest. So you need to figure out your week, your training week, so not every day is high. Some days are high, some days are low, so it might be technical, it might be a gym, or like you need to figure that out, right? And then you need to also, like I said, I've tried to give you all the components, that somehow you need to fit it into your week. If you can't fit it into a week, then maybe do a 2-week rota so you can fit it in, okay? And then, but if you just keep training, you don't give yourself any rest, you're going to get burnt out and tired. So you want to make sure you're fresh for your race. So like, I think it was Michael Blount that asked at the earlier in the live, he asked what to do 2 weeks out. He's already 2 weeks out. So really 2 weeks out, you want to be in a place where you feel fresh enough. So if you're not fresh, you might need to rest so that you can get fresh, because you're going to race soon. So it's not just 2 sessions in the morning and evening. If you're just doing 2 sessions every day, I'll be honest, you're most likely going to tire yourself out, especially if you're just trying to run fast in all of those sessions, okay? So you need to figure it out. So yes, you can have some sessions where it's like stretching and just like some, what's it called, active recovery stuff, some light stuff like some mobility. Yeah, that's important too. So just try to figure out your week. So not every day is like high, and then you're just going to get burnt out and you won't run faster when you're burnt out. So you have to make sure that you structure your week well. And if you're only 16, really and truly, you don't need to be doing 2 sessions a day, like 5 days a week. You don't. At 16, you just don't need to do that. Like, You might do 3, maximum 4 sessions at 16. You need to give yourself room to be able to progress and improve. Otherwise, your body is not going to be able to do that. Remember, I said to you guys at the beginning, this journey is a marathon, not a sprint, okay? So it's not just automatically, I do more sessions, I'm going to get faster. Sometimes you need to do less sessions, okay? Ma'am, can you prefer speed drills? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I think speed drills are good. You should be doing speed drills before you run, on whenever you run. I think personally, I think they're good. I think they're good. Good. What's the word I'm looking for? They prepare your body for what you want to do. Right, guys, we've got about 5 minutes left. Is there any questions left? So then you guys got more questions. Captain Britain, did that actually help you? My answer. Like, are you training to compete? Are you just training for fitness? Like, if you're training for fitness, then I would assume you need to do more than just 200 meters. So what are you training for? Oh, my leg, guys, my leg. I'm feeling it now. All right, is there any more questions, guys? Yes, I'm training for fun, but take it seriously. Okay. If you're training for fun, you don't need to do like just 200 like with 20 minutes because yeah, you can do more than that, and you can have a little bit less of a break. So you'll still be able to go fast, but just like, because the thing is, sprinting is always above 90% anyway. So it's always very fast. Otherwise it's not sprint. So otherwise it's just like a tempo run. So you're still gonna do that, but you can give yourself less recovery than that. Where are you from, ma'am? So I live in London. I'm living in London, but my mother's side of the family is from Nigeria, and my dad's side of the family is from Montserrat. So one of those countries is in Africa, and one of those countries is in the Caribbean. Hopefully we'll be sprinting by next season. I love that. Yeah, so a good place to start is the drills, what we spoke about before. I think I spoke about that in one of the lives this year, where it's a good place to start with the drills. So even if you can't get to a track, if you've got maybe an astroturf somewhere, if you've got space in the indoor hall, if you've got some grass somewhere, then you can start with some drills, and you can start with some hill sprints. Yeah, so you actually get used to like running, moving your body a bit more like intentionally, and that's a good place to begin. It's a good place to begin. I wish that they made track available to everybody everywhere. Do you expect to keep up the same times as you do another 100-meter run, or do you expect a slightly slower time each run? Well, that's the thing. The aim would be, like, if you have a target time for the day, the aim is to hit those times. So that's why I said, normally in training, let's say, okay, today you got 4 times 100 as an example, and they need to be at 92% as an example. Now, let's say your target time for the 100 is 12 seconds. Then what you want to do is then work out what is 12 seconds divided by 95%. It's going to come up to what, like 13 something probably. And then you're going to try to hit those times with every run. Now, depending on where your fitness is going to depend how well you're able to do that, as an example. But so that's where I say normally you give yourself a range of the rest time. So you might say, all right, with 8 to 10 minutes rest as an example, because you're going on the high end. Or if you know your session's gonna be a bit more lactic because you're not getting as long as recovery. It depends, because we have different reasons why we're doing certain sessions. So some sessions you're expecting to get more lactic in your legs because you're not getting as long a recovery and all of that stuff. But if you don't want that, then you give yourself a bit longer. but you still need to try to hit the target time. So if you're realizing based on fitness or based on whatever, and I say fitness because fitness is general, but there's different elements of that fitness as to why you are not able to do certain things. But you can adjust your rest time so that you're able. So if you do the first session, you realize, right, I couldn't do it off of 8 minutes, but I was close. So maybe if I gave myself, or maybe I did it on between the first two, I did it off of 8 minutes, but then the next one, I needed 10 minutes to do it. Then you try to, how you would progress that is to then give yourself less rest time on the next time you do it. So you have to give some sort of progression, otherwise you're not going to progress. So I hope that helped. Does that make sense what I just said? So the aim is to be able to run at a certain level, a certain speed, more than once. That's the aim. But you may not be able to do it initially. You might not be able to do it initially because, like I said, there's a lot of different reasons. Technical reasons, fitness reasons. So speed, that's why you need to be realistic on the time that you target yourself anyway. So speed, it might be like your speed endurance element, your ability, your anaerobic threshold. So basically there's different reasons as to why, but you can also progress it. So you might start off and say, right, I'm going to do them at 90%. So once you're able to do 4, you're like, okay, cool, I can do 4 off of the 5 minutes I hit that time. Okay, I want to increase the speed, I need a bit more rest to be able to do that. Okay, 4, but now with 6 to 8 minutes rest because the speed is quicker. But then you realize, oh, I couldn't do the second 2 off of 8 minutes, so I need to give myself 10. Then the next session you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to give myself 9 between the last 2. Then I'm going to give myself 8. So you kind of bring it down. So yeah. All right, my lovely people. I've been chatting for an hour. All right, guys. You're welcome. You're welcome. I hope there's something helpful in this live. Like I said, anytime you got any questions, you can just leave them in this comment section, under any video, under any post, and we will try our best to get back to you whenever we can. So guys, this has been another session of Ask T. Thank you for all your questions. Love spending time with you guys, but my bottom is now hurting from sitting on the seat, so I need to stand up. And my knee is starting to really feel it, so I need to move a little bit. But thank you guys for joining me. I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you next month in the next live. Stay blessed. Can't see anything again. You're welcome.